Okay, good morning. Are you ready for the exam? We have the our those who participate online. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay.
Good morning,
So now this is the way we are planning to do the exam. First, now we have the lecture. Now, right after that, 11 o'clock, sorry, 10 o'clock, we'll be having the online test. Right? So now, first we start the lecture. And after that, we can move to the another part of our session. So there will be an online test, right? So those who are participating online, they can do, and physical students, they can into the lab, right? Right. So let's move to the our previous discussion. Now we are talking about this macroeconomics. In the last day, we talk about the macroeconomics. We identify certain concepts, right? Related to the macroeconomics, right? So we identified the meaning and the subject area of basically macroeconomics compared with the microeconomics that we discussed in the previous week, right? And also we identified the macroeconomic issues, problems, and macroeconomic objectives, right? And the policies also we emphasized there. So as we understood, policy is the most important aspect that will come in under the scope of the macroeconomics, no? Right? So policy-oriented part. So we discussed those things, right? And then we look at the national income, basic concepts, and finally, now we are in the circular flow diagram, right? Okay, right. So national income, as we now you know the national income, that is the overall performance of the economy. So we measure in physical and the monetary terms, right? But it's important to identify the overall performance in physical image, right? In real terms, as we understand, right? Because in real term assessments, give us the improvements in the economy, right? That is the basic concept that we discuss economic growth, right? That we measured in real terms, right? GDP at constant prices, right? Or real GDP. So that measures the physical terms. But there are, we calculate normally national income in monetary terms and then we convert to the real terms, right? Either we take the base year prices, right? Or deflating based on the price index, right? So we can measure the national income in real terms or GDP in real terms, right? And if you look at this national income, right? So we can identify how we explain overall performance, right? Combining the different sectors and the different markets in the economy, right? Because there are transactions. These are the transactions. So you get the output, right? So it's produce output and there's a transaction part of the now we purchase the goods, right? Produce, right? Make monetary transaction and to close to the customers or consumers. And the other side we see the payments made to the production, right? The factors of production. And there are the laborers and the factory owners are there, the financial cost goes to them, right? And they will contribute to the overall performance of the economy thereby, right? So by understanding that, right, so we can discuss this circular flow that explains the real and the monetary flows, right? Real and the monetary flows operate in opposite direction, right? One point to another, right? So, and if you think about further, this happens through the markets, right? Real and the monetary flows. Now we purchase the goods, right? We pay for the business firms, no, right? And the producers and the goods flows to us, no, right? So that will happen through the price, no, right? Price is determined now. How we get the payments. Now we know we discuss about the demand and supply market, no, right? So that determine the price, no, right? According to the price determining the market, those real and the monetary flows operate, right? So we can identify different of the economy. We identify the different sectors. So we identify the economy, right? Here we have the household, firms, and the government, and the we can take the rest of the external sector. Right? So we have the four sectors, right? So combining overall the economy, what you call it's the spectrum, no, right? So like the universe, right? If you look at, no, right? So we see the household, firms, and the government within the economy, right? Since we are dealing with the rest of the nation, with the other nations, we can incorporate external sector. So that is the foreign sector, no, right? So therefore, we can identify four sectors in the economy, right? And these four sectors, we know that there are transactions took place. That's we measure as a national income, no, right? So household is purchase, no, and other side household goods are itself are the factor owners, no, right? And the business firms also there, right? They also part the household, you can take it, and they are the investors, no, right? And the government and the external sector is there, no, right? So there's an interaction, right? So they are actually doing the transactions. So if we value all these transactions, no, right, took place each and every sector, so that will equals to the national income, no, right? So those are the if you value all these transactions, right? So that is equal to the production, no, GDP. Produce production within the economy, those are circulated, no, right? So transaction took place accordingly, no, right? So likewise, now we identify these four sectors, no, right? Household, firms, government, external sector. And we see the interaction each and every sector, no, right? And those are the transactions we identify. So those transactions to the market, no, right? Now we know that household divide the goods, that's happened in the goods market, no, product market. Yeah. And this household and the firm, no, right? So product market is defining the price, goods price, no, final good price, no, right? And that's available, no, right? Accordingly, we purchase, and that will goes to the sales revenue as a, for the producers or the firms on the other side, no, right? There is a turnover, this, no, right? There is their income, no, right? We make the payment purchase, no, right? And the government also involved, right, in different ways, no? So government itself make expenditure for its consumption, no, right? For the payment of this, since the government is running some organizations, increase of provincial councils and institutions, government body represent, no, right? So there are transactions, right? And the government other side impose taxes and so on, right? And government makes part of the expenditure made, no, right? So that's a revenue, no, right? Those things we identify monetary flows, no, right? And external sector also, right? So now government interact with these firms, even government makes the purchase, no, right? Consumptions, and government may invest or finance funds from the market, no? That's uneconomic corporation, no, right? Right. In the capital market, then to operation, no, right? And when you come to the external sector, so the firms or household, maybe the investors, we actually export goods and import goods, no, right? So there is a foreign exchange market related to that. And also the government also involved in the external sector, borrowing from the external market, no, right? For the borrowings, for the market, for the international markets, no, right? So likewise, you can see all these interactions. Right? So therefore, the transactions, we can identify all these things if we combine, no, right? All these interactions, transactions, real and the monetary flows, first between the sectors, with the among the sectors, no, right? Through the market, no, right? We can identify the overall economic setup, no, right? Some kind of picture. We can identify how these economies operate in overall terms, right? So that is the basic, right? Now in the simple circular from diagram, right? So that explains this real and the monetary flows occur between the different sectors in the economy, right? To the market. So that explains the circular model, right? For the understanding, we take the simple model first, right? We take into account household and the firms, how these two sectors operate the market, through the markets. So we can incorporate the goods market and the factor market in order to explain the interaction between the household and the firms, right? Because we purchase goods and the firms supply goods, right? That determines the demand goods and the firms supply, demand and supply forces determine the price, accordingly, real and market forces, right? So we have the goods market and the factor market. We know that's indirect demand, right? When the firms need to produce this as service, right? In order to meet the requirements of the household, right? So therefore, we see firms demand, right? We come to the labor market, right? And the individuals, the economy, they supply factors, factor supply and the factor demand, right? So that determine the factor prices. Accordingly, payment is made by the firms, and the other side, the income received to the factor owners, based on the factor income. So there actually we identified this national factor income. If we take all these factor income received to the household factor owners, that measures the national income, right? All the payment that we made in goods and service, so that actual measures the national expenditure. Likewise, we can take it as an aggregator, even though we look at in microwave how these people, individuals interact, right? Combining all these effects, we can take it in aggregate form and we can measure national income, national expenditure, national output type, right? So that explains the simple model, right? So now there are certain assumptions in the simple model there. Simple model means where they are operating household and the firm, right? We identify only two sectors. We ignore other two sectors, that means the government and the external sector. We take the interaction between the household and the firm, so right, to the market, right? So that explains the real and monetary flows between the firms and the house, right, to the market in the simple model. So we take there are two sectors. So what are those two sectors? The simple model, household and the firms, and no savings. That means all the expenditure, all the income received is spent, right? So there is no saving, no investments, right? So and no savings. That means Y equal C, right? All the income received, consumed, right? We are not saving. That we assume the simple income, right? And there is no savings, mean in the household there is no savings, firms there is no savings, right? Firms have savings, that means they can reinvest, right? The business, right? But we assume simple model, there is no savings, right? And there is no stocks, right? So all this production we consume, right? There is no closing, opening stocks. And the government involvement is null. There is no government involvement. We assume the closed economy type model. In the simple model, we assume only the household and the firm, right? Without derivatives, right? Right. Okay. And the closed economy model, right? So those are the basic assumptions that we made, right? So we ascertain the interaction between the household and the firms, their real and the monetary flows. How this happen in a simple circular model. So actually, there we can identify, right, these three concepts. As I mentioned, national income, national output, national expenditure, right? So that is the income received to the household factor owners, if we take all the aggregates, right, that measures the national income, right? all the production they produce, supply to the market, that form the national output, right? National expenditure means what we pay the market to acquire the production, right? Produced by the firms. So that form the national expenditure, right? All these things are equal in a simple model, right? We can සර්ව සාමයක් කියලානේ. මේක ඇත්තටම sorry. මේක රැළ තුනක් දාන්නේ නේද? Lines three lines. Equality, right? All these things are equal. So we look at the same thing in different angles, right? We look at the output in income output or expenditure output, right? Because output is produced, purchased by the household, right? So when they are acquiring the total production, they have to make the expenditure, right? So how they spend based on their income, right? All these things are equal, right? So national income equal national output equal national expenditure, right? So now you can look at this simple model, right? So we take the household, business, and the household and the business, firms and the household, right? So we take the market, right? Product market and the goods market. Sorry, goods market and the factor market, right? So they are actually, we know the market forces operate, demand and supply, right? In the product market, we see the demand for goods, and the supply of goods by the firms, right? Demand for the goods come from the household, right? Supply of goods come from the producers, the firms. The interaction that determines the price in the market. That's equilibrium. Based on the price determined in the market, we are making the transactions, right? And that will operate in the other way for the firms as well, right? So now the household, now the business household demand goods, right? Based on the price determined, right? And make the expenditure on goods, right? Expenditure on output, right? Right? And the goods they receive, right? That is the real and the monetary flow we see, expenditure on goods and purchase of goods, receiving the goods, right? And the firm side, if we say based on the price, right? So we receive the firm supply goods, right? And firm receive the dollars, income, right? That is their sales income, right? Supply and the supply goods and the revenue for the firm, right? In monetary terms, real and the monetary flows is, right? And accordingly, we see here other side, right? When there is a demand for goods, firm needs to supply, firm needs to produce. They demand factors, right? So the factor demand and the factor supply, right? The factor market, right? Who are the supply the factors? Household supply, supply of labor. So the demand for labor. That is the firm's demand for labor. That determines in the market factor market. So that determines the wage rate. So that is the equilibrium in the labor market, factor market. Based on that, we see how many units we are going to acquire, right? So based on the factor price, wage rate, and based on that, that determine the revenue for the factor income for the household, right? Because house based on the wage rate, household supply the labor, right? And that will determine their factor income, real and the monetary. Here we receive the factor and the payment made on the factors, factor payment and the factor income, right? So the factor supply and the factor supply and this is the that we incorporate in the production process. So we see the interaction, household and the firms to the market, right? So that's a simple economy, right? Simple economy, simple circular model. So we can see how these sectors operate in the market, and how these outcomes occur according to real and the monetary, right? Okay, and we can enlarge this one, no, right? By adding other sectors. This is not realistic, no, right? This is not explaining the complete model, no, right? So in order to incorporate, we can use other sectors and the other markets into this setting, no, right? That will explain full-fledged macroeconomic model, right? So combining other sectors, now we can combine the government, no, and the external sector. And also we can incorporate other markets, money market, no, and the foreign exchange market, no, right? So that explains the full-fledged macroeconomic model. So how this real market flows occur between sectors to the market, right? So we can think about it, right? So then we look at here, right? So that actually we can hear, we can see, right? This interaction, right? There are some more things we can incorporate. It could be the relationship between the sectors and the markets, right? Explain. So now we know the simple model. We take business and household, factor market, and the goods market, right? Now we incorporate government, financial market, no, right? And the foreign exchange market, no, right? Forex. Now the government, if we take the government, right? So the government make expenditure, no, right? Government consumption, no, right? We denoted as G, no, right? Government purchase goods and services, no, right? The government bodies, no, right? Government other some institutions, no, government all, no, right? Expenditure, right? And we know that other side, the household receive factor income, no, right? Based on the factor income, they have to pay taxes, no, right? Direct taxes, no, right? So we take the income, no, right? That is one source of income, the government, right? And also, so that actually explain one side, right? And this is the government expenditure, right? And the government mainly the tax revenue received, right? The difference if we take, so that is the something we need to match, no? Expenditure and the revenue, no? For the government. So if there is any shortage, government need to finance that too. There can be either surplus or deficit, no? If the income is higher than the payments, no, right? So there is a surplus, no, right? If there is a surplus, that can be utilized, no, right? By the government, right? Maybe in the financial market, no, right? Invest, no? And if there's a deficit, government need to borrow, no, from the financial. So like that we can read, right? And the other side, one side, household part of the income they received, right? Factor income they received, right? Pay as taxes, no, right? Yeah. One part they made expenditure on goods, no, right? Consumption, no, right? Yeah, right. So other part pay as taxes. And if there is a surplus, that can be saved, no, right? The financial market, money market, no, right? Household savings, no, right? Right? We can identify those linkages, no, right? Between each and every sector, right? How this is when we are explaining the movements, transactions, no, right? So that explains the behavior, no, right? These sectors, right? And if you look at the foreign exchange market, right? The firms, right? So the firms actually now we know that firms export goods, right? No, right? And other side, the firms imports are there, right? So the payments, even household also make the payments, no, right? Foreign exchange market, right? So household we also import, no, right? So the individuals now we can import one car, no, right? Per year, no, right? Yeah, right? So we also import, right? And the firms export, right? These exports and imports balance in the foreign exchange market, basically. The foreign exchange imports and outputs. That could be happen, no, right? Even you can link with the government also the foreign exchange market, no, right? So you can think about, right? So that actually explain the foreign exchange market, all the foreign exchange inflows and outflows, foreign exchange purchase, foreign exchange payments, no, right? So that explains the foreign exchange market, right? So you can see all these interactions, no, right? Now, when you explain the between each and every segment, right? Now, the one side, we know that firms receive the revenue, no, right? Sales revenue, no, right? One part, no, by selling goods, no, right? So that part of the revenue, now the firms also has to pay taxes to the government, no, right? Right. BPPA, no, right? So that time you can incorporate, no, right? Based on the income, no, right? And based on the profit, they have to pay tax. And also the firms, right? Now their income, they receive their sales income, no, right? And part of the income they pay as taxes to the government, no, firms, no, right? And the balance, if there is a surplus, firms can invest, no, right? So the investments can be take place in the maybe the financial markets, no, right? Can be, no, right now, or even in the production, right? Right. So you can think, like all these things, right? You can think about some more interactions, right? When we explain the behavior of these sectors, right? Also, firms, government, and the externals. So this is the full complete model, right? Since we incorporate all the sectors and the markets, right? And their interactions, right? Okay. So that explains the behavior of the overall economy. How the economy, whole economy behave, right? Right. Is it clear? Do you have any question? Yes. Right. Right. Now we will. Now we can identify another concept when we explain the overall economy, right? Now we are going to talk about the macroeconomic equilibrium. So one thing is now we can identify the certain conditions in order to achieve the macroeconomic equilibrium. So one thing is the injections and the withdrawal. So what are the injections and the withdrawals? Even in the circular model, you can identify these injections and the withdrawals. So we have the model, right? Circular model, national income determination model, right? So we identify the sectors, how they are interact, right? To the market, right? So then explain the real and the market flows between the sectors, right? So there we can identify in this model injections and the withdrawals. Right? So what are the injections? So those are the inflows to the model. Inflows. Withdrawals are the outflows from the model. Right? So the equilibrium, when we explain the equilibrium, is inflows to equals to outflows. So there should be a balance. Right? That's a kind of equilibrium. Right? Okay. So if we are talking, we can go and out to get out, right? Okay. Now in the national income model, right? So these injections and withdrawals we can identify. So the injections are the inflows to the market, right? And outflows are the withdrawals. We can leakages in the leakages. So at the equilibrium, this should be balanced. Right? So what are the injections and what is the nature of the injection? What are the injections? If you look at the simple model, they operate household and the firms. What are the injections? In the simple model, we identify there is no investment. From the outside the model, if there are investments coming, that will add it. Right? That will be a inflow from the outside the model. Within the model, there is no savings. Savings or investment. We assume, right? If there are some inflows from the outside to the model, to the economy, that we identify as the injections. Investment, no? So that is the injection. So if there are inflows to the model, what happens? There will be a positive impact on national income. National income increase. So all the injections has positive impact on national income. Higher injection is higher national So in a simple model, we identify one injection so that it is private from the outside the model. Those are the inflows to the model. And the withdrawals, so if the injections has positive impact, withdrawal has negative impact on national. Since those are outflows from the model, right? We have no bargain at people. There is a water tank, right? There is the inflow, input and output to pipelines are there, no? Right? One pipeline, those water coming into the basket. Other side, other pipeline goes out. Right? So if there is a stable water in all the time, we need to keep a stable water fill up with the water tank. Right? There should be inflows should be equal to the outflow. So right? There is stability. The water in the basket goes up in the water tank. There should be inflows should be equal to the outflow. That is the equilibrium, right? Stable economy. Right? We assume the economy as a water tank. So it goes to be equal to the outflow. Right? So that means stable economy you can maintain all the time, right? So withdrawals, those are outflows. No? In a simple model, what is the withdrawal? The saving. So that's it. If we save me, we goes out, right? Within the model, people we assume all the income we consume, right? There is no saving. It's fixed. We are going to save it. Outflow from the model, right? So the savings has negative impact. Sometimes we think about other savings. But in a simple model, we are saving the financial market as it is. Right? People are saying it's outflow from the model. It has a negative impact. So in the equilibrium, what is the situation there? Injection should equal to the withdrawal, that means investment should equal to the saving. A simple model, I equal S, so that we can identify, right? Okay, right? So we must know the injections and the withdrawal, right? The injections has the inflows to the model. Those are the inflows to the model. Withdrawals are the outflows from the model, right? The injections has positive impact on national income, so that means if there is a exogenous inflows to the national income, investments which has a positive impact on national income or GDP increase, no? Right? And the withdrawals has negative impact on national income, so those are outflows from the circular model, which has a negative impact on national income. Higher withdrawals means that will lie in the national income. Right? So at the equilibrium, injection should be equal to the withdrawal. Right? So that is the one condition. When you talk about the macroeconomics, stability in the overall economy, right? Stable economy, more to achieve overall economic stability. There should be a injection should be equal to the. So now, so that is the equilibrium, right? So when you talk about the national income equilibrium, right? So that is the stability in the overall economy, right? So we can identify certain conditions, right? So now one thing is now since we are talking about the macroeconomic aggregates, right? Expenditure, right? And the output. At the equilibrium situation, all these concepts are, all these notations are comes to the equal situation. National income equal national expenditure. So national income means actually the national expenditure means aggregate expenditure. That is the aggregate demand. No? Right? National income equals to the output. That is the output, right? National output. So that is that form based on the aggregate supply. No? Right? So therefore, we can identify at the equilibrium aggregate demand equal aggregate supply. In other words, we can take national income equal national expenditure. Right? So these things are equal, right? National income, aggregate expenditure, national output comes to equilibrium situation. And also the injections equals to the withdrawal, right? These two conditions, Aggregate demand equal aggregate supply or expenditure. Injections equals withdrawal. So that will be identified as an economic equilibrium stable situation in the overall. Right? So as we discussed in the microeconomic equilibrium, demand equals supply, aggregate demand equals supply. Right? So here we identified injections equal withdrawal and national income equal. Okay. Now the national expenditure, we know that if we take the in aggregate terms, so, right, that will equal to the consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, government expenditure, right? Likewise, we can identify different components, right? So that means that will equal to the output, so income. So we can take it as y equal c plus a plus d, or x minus n. This one, first one, right? Y equal c plus I plus d, x minus n. Injections equal withdrawal, so that depends on the level that we the different sectors that we incorporate. In a simple model, injections equal withdrawal, right? But when it comes to the free sector with the government, that will equals injections are the investments and the government expenditure also injection, right? It has a positive impact on national income. If the government raises expenditure, that will increase the output through aggregate demand. So raise the aggregate demand. You know that aggregate demand creates its own supply for the case. So that means government expenditure is an injection. I plus T. And the withdrawals are savings and the taxes. Taxes because from the household they receive the income, no part of the income they consume, other part pay as a taxes to the government. So if there's a tax, right? So it has a negative impact on national income. That will discourage the production of higher taxes. That will discourage the production. And if we further extended our model in open economy model, right, with the rest of the world, right? So that will take another two expenditure, right? Exports and the imports. So injections are the I plus D plus X. Export has a positive impact on national income. We are exporting more and more goods. We can raise our revenue, income. But import has a negative impact on national income. That's the withdrawal, right? Then S plus T plus N. That is the withdrawal in the open economy. So we can identify those things because higher imports mean that will discourage local production. Exporting more and more goods. We are highly dependent on the import contents. There is no way to do in the local industries, no? That will decrease the local production and income also. High imports coming as a withdrawal. So likewise, we can analyze our model, right? Taking from the simple model to complete model. So that will explain this, as we mentioned, this overall right? With the corrections. Here also we are going to talk about the stable situation. So this is equilibrium situation in this full-fledged model, right? Complete model, right? So we can identify all these things, right? So the conditions you must remember, right? So in the national income equilibrium, right? Aggregate demand equal aggregate supply, or in other words, y equals c plus I plus d, x minus n. And injections equal withdrawal. Right? The simple economy I equal s. Right? We can further elaborate. As this pen missing. Okay, side. So, okay, right. Okay, right. So now equilibrium. So those are the two conditions, right? So we can identify, right? Now this can, we can elaborate these things, right? National income, Y, right? For the, that will equals to the national output or the national expenditure. We can take national income Y equals C plus I plus D X minus A. Injections equal withdrawal, right? So we can take, we can analyze that situation based on simple economy, post economy model with the government, and open economy model. So that is very, very important. And when we are moving to the next stage, right? So since we are going to calculate the national income, sometimes we may familiar with that, right? Some of you. So national income calculation. Okay, so one thing is now aggregate demand equal aggregate supply, right? That is the first condition, right? So that we can explain Y equal P plus I plus G in a closed economy, right? If it is an open economy, we need to add export and import, net export, right? Net export, right? So that's the open economy. So this is the closed economy, right? Closed. We take all these things, right? That become open economy, right? Okay, open economy, right? And the other one, second condition is injections. That means injections equals withdrawal. My handwriting is very nice, but I can't write it here. I just not as it is, right? Okay. Don't understand my writing is ugly, right? So even though I am ugly, right? So my writing is good, right? Okay. So the injections equal withdrawal, right? Okay. Now in that we can analyze in the simple economy, one thing, and the other one simple economy. Now we have the two models, right? Three models, right? So these are the models that we can explain, right? Models, right? In order to explain the income, national income, right? Simple economy, we take the, we take the only the household and the firms, right? In a closed economy, right? We take household, firms, and the government, G, right? And then we have the open economy model, right? So we have the household, as we discussed, firms, government, and the foreign sector, no, right? External sector, no, right? So that's the open economy. Now we can develop our explanation from simple model to the open economy model. We can identify the income determination in a simple model to the open economy model, right? So in the simple model, we know that injections and the withdrawals, injections are the investments, withdrawal are the savings, no, right? I equal S. That equilibrium, investment should be equal to the savings. No? We call it as planned investment equal to the savings, right? In a closed economy with the government, right? So we take the injections as the government expenditure also, right? I plus G, right? Both the investments and the government expenditure has positive impact. Those are the inflows to the bottom. And the savings and the taxes, right? So those are negative impact on national income. Higher savings will lower national income. Higher taxes also become discourage national income, because if you take that taxes, we know that one explanation YD, right? What is YD? Yes, we know. YD means disposable income, no, right? Disposable income. So once you receive your income, right, that is nominal income, no, right? Salary. So, but from that you have to pay taxes, no, right? After deducting taxes, balance you can spend, no, for your consumption, no, right? So that is the disposable income. How you take the disposable income? Y minus T. T is the tax, no, right? Nominal income minus tax, no, right? That income you can spend for the consumption, no, right? And savings as well, no, right? So if there is a subsidy, you need to add that one, no, right? Let's meet the subsidy, on savings, right? If the government give the consumer subsidy, no, right? Now the pension subsidy is given, no, right? Now we get this for Galle. That there are some having this zero assessment, right? You get assessment, right? So that is subsidy, direct inflow, right? Direct monetary flow from the government to household, no, right? So that need to be added, no, right? So depending on that, disposable income is determined. If there is higher subsidies, disposable income increase, no, right? For the consumer. If there are higher taxes, now we know that this habit, no, right? No, income tax, no, right? That will reduce the disposable income. If there is a reduction in now higher taxes, reduce the disposable income, no? If there is a reduction in disposable income, what happens? That reduce the consumption, no, right? Because you are disposable income reduce, your consumption also decrease. Because you have to pay from your income higher tax, no, right? Now we are paying 36% from our income. It's very bad, no? That's why we are asking reduction, no, right? So that is disposable income, that's consumption. We need to reduce the consumption, no, right? Because nothing, right? Sometimes negative salary, if you get some all the income we tax, no, additional expenditure, the additional income we receive by lecturing in the university, there will be higher tax. Then our salary is negative, minus, sometimes negative, some get negative salary. Tax account, salary cut. University give up. So that is the situation. Then what happens? If there is a reduction in consumption, that reduces the aggregate demand. No, because aggregate demand, you know that comprises C plus I plus G in the closed economy, no? Right? If there is a reduction in consumption, aggregate demand also reduce, right? Okay. So if there is a reduction in aggregate demand, what happens? That reduces the income, no, right? So therefore, higher tax has a negative impact on national income, right? So that's why we take it as a withdrawal, no, right? So that discourage, no, right? people, right? So, and the business sector also discouraged, right? If there is higher tax. So that will it will have a negative impact on national income, right? Now we know if we take further, our investment, I'm going to make it complicated, right? Investment will depend on the interest rate, no, right? Savings depends on income, right? Okay. Now here also you can take I also R. Now the savings you can write it Y, depends on Y, right? Taxes also you based on the income, no, right? We take here the income tax, right? And in the open economy, IR, G, we had export, no, right? X means export. If there are exports, right? Now we know that export, here we take the exports, right? Now here export mean X minus N, no? Next means X minus N, right? We add the exports to the national income, deduct imports, no, right? I export. If the X increase, Y also increase, no, right? We are exporting to the rest other nations, no, right? We receive the income, no, foreign exchange earnings, no, right? That will increase the national income, right? And then the savings, taxes, that also depends on income we take, and the imports, no, right? So we can take it different. The imports depend on exchange rate and so on, right? We are not taking those things, right? Now, for the simplicity explanations, for the time being, we take these two only, right? Now, imports also has a negative impact, no? X minus N. Higher imports means net export decrease, no, right? If there is a decline in the net export, income also decrease, no, right? Okay, so there will be a negative impact, right? So other thing is, you know that why there is a negative impact. If you are importing goods, our consumption shift from local goods to foreign goods. No? People are not demanding the local goods because sometimes high cost. No? You can import, why we are importing, since we can import at a lower price, no, than the local market, no, and the quality also sometimes good, no, right? So people behave that way, right? So their consumption will shift from local goods to foreign goods. Demand will like this, no. Quality supply also acts, no, right? Suppliers installation. So therefore, of the decrease, income also decrease, right? So that will have a negative impact. That's why we take it as withdrawal, right? So these are the models that we are going to talk about, right? This is one condition, no, right? Injections equal withdrawal, no, right? So we can analyze in the simple model to open economy model, right? So now these expenditure, government expenditure now for the time being, that it does not depend on any income, no, right? So we take it as exogenous variable. So this is exogenous. What is exogenous? Exogenous, outside, determined by the outside, not within the model, outside the model, right? Exogenous variable, right? Now here also that's why we take it as autonomous, right? So we take it in a simple model, we take it is expenditure autonomous, right? Right? Autonomous expenditure, exogenous. So we take it determined by itself, right? So that is the situation, okay? Right. Right. Now you know the injections and the withdrawals, right? That is one condition, right? Yes. Since we are not going to talk about much today, right? But you are ready for the exam, right? Today we are talking about parliamentary outline, right? So it the 5 minutes will start that then relax and get it. After that, then having some snacks or like having tea or something, right? So if you have 45 minutes, right? Be given 40 minutes. You know, 45 minutes, right? Is it that one? Okay, so it will be given 45 questions. Will be given, you need to ask 40 questions. So, right? So you can actually just use it. Right? So you can manage the time, right? Some are very easy questions are there, right? They are more. Within 10 minutes you can ask them, right? So questions are there. Only share what is it? Yeah, right. What is our timing and it will be very, very important, right? Please carefully read the question and answer, right? This is MCQ, right? That if you read it fuller, if you are the necessary taking the answer, whereas then you have to read and answer. Otherwise, you will lose the marks, right? 20 marks will be given, right? So, if you lose the marks, there is no way to handle that. You will know the right? So, how many marks for that? Well, how many marks for 20, only the 20 marks, right? With weightage. Right. So, this is our the injections have been over, right? So, then okay, right? So then we are going to talk about this macroeconomic variable a little bit, right? So now you know we discussed about this, right? Last time we identified this variable, right? Consumption, investment, right? Savings, money demand, money supply, right? We discussed those things. So those are the major macro variables, right? Which represent real sector and the market sector, right? You can identify the real sector variable is consumption, investment, savings, right? And the money demand, money supply, real sector. So monetary sector variable that explains the real and the monetary sector. We can identify based on that the economy comprises partly the real sector and also the important market sector also that's right. In the model also we identified, right? When we explain different sectors, how they are interact with each other, right? To the market, we can identify the market sector, money market, foreign exchange market patterns. Therefore, we see the interaction between the real and the market sectors, right? So we are going to explain these things, right? In our next attempt, right? We are going to explain the consumption, investment, savings, those things, and money demand, money supply. We will take it later, right? When we are explaining the ISLA model, right? So now basically in the Keynesian model, talk about this aggregate demand, right? The aggregate demand comprises the consumption, investment, simple economy, right? We take the simple economy, we take the consumption and the investment. We can take other variables, right? When we explain the closed economy, one economic model, taking into account common expenditure, exports and imports, right? Those also represent the variables, right? But here we take part of that. So the consumption and the investment is the other side, right? So consumption means your income, you consume part of your income, right? Other part you save, right? So that means part of your income consume, other part you save by equal C plus S, right? You take the simple economy, right? Now the consumption depends on the income, right? So that is the main, right? If there is a government sector, right, that depends on the disposable income, because taxes are there, right? And the subsidies are there, right? Right? So the savings also adjust accordingly, right? Those things we are going to discuss in our next attempt, right? So some of the questions are given, right? I have given you the tutorial. I gave you 3 tutorials, so comprising the various things, right? So you need to refer those things, right? Refer to your not reading, you need to write it, right? And discuss with your friends and so. There are any questions you can ask me, right? So, when you are coming here, right? Apart from that, you can do these questions as well, right? Okay. That is our explanation. I think we will stop, right? The lecture is right. So, to give you some time for you to relax, right? And think about the relaxing way, right? So to prepare for the exam. So that will arrange in the lab, right? So you need to go to the lab and then. Right? So I will give you the password if I'm thinking like that. You can look at that there and you take the test, right? Okay. So any questions?
So which subjects will come in sessions?
I told you last week. Up to the simple stage one, what we talk about application. That day last week.
Yeah, and the micro.
Yeah, microeconomic basically we touched like some more topics. So you need to manage the time, right? If there are enough questions, right? It's either 45 or the business side. Automatically, streaming off, no, right? There is time, right? So within the time you need to attend, right? You can do it, right? So take it seriously, right? And that's good, you can do it, right? Okay. Okay, we will have a break, right? After the break, we can start the this paper, right? Examination at 10. Okay. So the online participants can join to the examination, right? Online mode, right? To the LMS, right? You are doing. So at 10 o'clock, right? 10 to 11, there will be examination.